Welcome back everyone, I'm Run Muffin and I'm gonna do another Draw This in Your Style challenge. As always, I'm gonna start sketching out a little, that was not to use the word little. We will not use the word little today! Nope! If you watched my last Draw This in Your Style challenge, you know this is my go-to sketchbook for all of my initial sketches. I really had a hard time with this one actually. It's been a while since I've actually tried to draw humans. Although this hairstyle was probably one of my favorites. I usually have a hard time with bangs, and for some reason the bangs on this one just worked for me. It just worked, and I really liked it. But what got me was the eyes. Lately I've been having a lot of trouble drawing eyes, and I think it's because I'm trying to discover a new way of doing it compared to how I used to, and so that's a thing. If you see in my little notes on the second image there, I kind of wrote, "What are these eyes?" or something like that. They don't seem to be looking anywhere. They're just so soulless. So once I'm kind of fed up with trying to get this face to a point where I like it, I'm just gonna move on and start doing some thumbnail sketches. I don't really do dynamic poses, so this was a good excuse to try it. You may not call this a dynamic pose, but whatever. It's a dynamic pose for me. And after successfully doing that first one there, and I kind of actually liked how that came out, I just jump right over to that third face again to kind of finalize the hairstyle and get those glasses in there. So with that, I kind of just take my thumbnail and I make a bigger thumbnail. This paper is very small, so we can get away with calling this a thumbnail, can't we? Let's go with that. Collars are another one of my greatest weaknesses, and clothing in general. I'm trying to get better at clothing, but it's I don't know why it's hard for me. I think I draw a lot of my girls in tank tops and stuff like that, and so I kind of need to stop doing that. Get into those dynamic poses! With that done, let's move on to an actual piece of paper. Yes! This time I'm using a Crayola Color Erase colored pencil to do sketching. I thought maybe it would be better to do these color erase pencils. I bought them for this purpose because they're color erase pencils. I couldn't find any in my local craft store or at the one that I work at that was Prismacolors, so went ahead and got these just to give them a try, and I decided I don't like them. I don't like how... Ready? You're gonna be surprised by this one. I don't like how waxy they came onto the paper. They did this weird chalky texture that I really wasn't happy with. It did erase pretty well, and I was happy with that. But I draw with a heavy hand. I have a really heavy hand, and so pressing down on that colored pencil super hard as I tend to do, it just flaked all over the place, and that was no good. But I carried through anyway, and I was like, I will make this work! So there's that. And if you'll notice, my lovely mitten hands, I call them nubs. Do you like my nubs? And then I decided to go in with my Pilot Friction pen to do for the line art because I really liked how soft of a purple this was. I debated doing the glasses right off the bat, but here is my nervous twitch about doing that. I got really nervous about going over the glasses, so I just decided to save that for last and move on to the hair because that was far less scary. Although, it was still pretty scary. Moving back on to the face and the hair and the clothes. And that's when I noticed that erasing this with a kneaded eraser, that is erasing the Crayola color erase pencils with the kneaded eraser, wasn't fantastic. It did erase the pigment, but I noticed that it also, for some reason, the kneaded eraser pushed the feathering parts of it around the paper and kind of tinted it, so it kind of smudged it instead of erasing it of some sort. I don't know. I'm never gonna use these colored pencils again. That's all I know. And ooh, look at that shaky line. My hand was so shaky and I don't know why. But I finally got over my fear and did the glasses! And they came out okay. Perfect circles are scary. So once that's good, I go ahead and erase everything and then did the biggest horror of my life. I just crinkled the whole thing! No! Now for the dramatic lighting change! So that's because I decided to film in a different location in my house this time, and the way that was done, the sun, this drawing took me so long that it started in the morning, and then as the sun was setting, I got this wonderful overcast of shadows. But let's talk about the coloring. So this time I'm using my Tombows right on top of the paper itself. I'm not using a watercolor paper this time. This time it's just a Canson marker paper. So I tested it out with all of my markers that I owned, and I still felt like my Tombows were my most pastel drawing medium. I had pastel Copics, but for some reason they came on much more vibrantly than I wanted them to be, and the colors didn't really match the reference photo. I'm not completely happy with how the hair came out. I think I made my stripes a little bit too skinny on some colors, and then other colors are like thick. I don't think it came out that bad. I just think the purple and the blue could have taken up more space, but I underestimated how much space I had, and so it just came up with like super yellow. Let's just say that it's unique. I don't know. Let's mention this drawing. So this picture is super cute, and honestly I found it when I was just searching through draw this in your style hashtag on Instagram, and then that's when I discovered Becky Cass. So that's the original artist of this image. It's Becky Cass, who drew this adorable rainbow girl. And as soon as I saw her, I was like, I don't care of my fear of humans, I must draw this. And so I did. And it was actually a lot of fun. Becky Cass's style kind of inspired me, and I was like, I gotta at least give it a try. So now I'm trying to use these new colored pencils that I actually received for Christmas, and they are polycolor colored pencils. I was actually really happy with how they worked on top of Tombow markers. It was, I don't know, it gave a nice subtle shading to it. I think I add more shading later. Okay, so you're seeing me pull out my shoot, I can't remember the names of anything today. Hang on. Okay, my Papermate Flare marker pen. I'm just going over my lines with this just to make it a little bit darker. The Pilot Friction pen, I felt like the lines kind of disappeared once I colored in everything, so I felt like it needed to be much darker. So after going over my lines with the Papermate Flare, I go in again and I thicken the outlines. You don't see that because the video kind of cut and did some wonky stuff, so that's not in there, but that's okay. And so after I'm done with doing all that off camera, we are actually finished. I'm so happy I discovered Becky Cass. She's such an amazing artist and I really love her style, and it was so much fun drawing her rainbow girl. I want to thank you all for watching, and I appreciate you being here. It honestly means a lot to me. Like the video if you did, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!